What's going on, you guys? This is Aaron from Departures Capital, and welcome to the video. In this video, we have the pleasure of interviewing Joe Caraba, who is the chairman of Winston Gold. Winston Gold is a near-term gold producer, and we're going to be talking all about the company with Joe in this awesome interview. So we're going to get straight into it, guys. Last but not least, before we do so, if you do support me, the channel, and all the videos, then there's two things. The first thing is to kindly explode that like button. It takes just 1 second of your time, and it helps my videos so very much. Along with, if you are a new viewer to the channel, you haven't had a chance to subscribe yet, but you appreciate steady flow of new and exciting companies, constant updates in the markets, and you want to learn a little bit more about investing, of course, then don't forget to cash that subscribe button and ring the market bell for notifications. And let's get straight into this awesome interview. What's going on, guys? This is Aaron with Departures Capital. We're here with Joe Caraba, chairman of Winston Gold. How are you doing today, Joe?
I'm doing great, Aaron. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you on. So before we start talking about Winston Gold, first, can we hear a little bit about, your history in the gold and silver sector?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I'm a geologist with an MBA, and I've spent over 40 years in the industry in a variety of operating and project roles, not in the typical geologist role, if you will, in a variety of minerals fortunately with some very large companies such as Rio Tinto for 22 years. From a Canadian's perspective, I ran diamond mines up in Yellowknife and on the Arctic Circle before I transitioned and was headhunted out to become the chairman and CEO of Cleveland-Cliffs, a big iron ore and met coal producer headquartered out of Cleveland, Ohio. That came with it. Along the way with it, I was recruited to go on the Newmont Gold board. I was on that board for 9 years and ran the Sustainability Operations and Safety Committee through those 9 years. I retired from Newmont last June, at the end of June, when the Gold Corp deal was consummated. There was going to be a very large board, and I really, at that point in time, was enjoying my education in the junior sector and seeing where the gold industry was getting ready to take off. And I really like a hands-on approach. So I wanted to get my hands dirty once again, and so there was a conflict of interest there. So I retired from Newmont and found my way into my first venture, which is Winston Gold.
So you're the chairman of Winston Gold. Can you tell us a little bit about the company?
Yeah, I'll be glad to. Winston Gold is a historic mine district. It's about 22 miles southeast of Helena, Montana, right off the hardtop. A group of folks who have been very well skilled in the junior mining industry with success. Murray Nye, the CEO out of Winnipeg, Max Belinsky, the CFO. They brought Drum Lum, an old mine in Montana, into production a few years back, and then went out and found another property, which was Winston, that came with it. I jumped into it about 2 years ago, did my due diligence, went out and met the team, went out and met the folks, looked at the financial model, the geological model, and I jumped in, and I'm now the largest shareholder and the chairman, as you've reiterated to the folks there. It's really a group of folks that have hung together for a number of years. My hat's off to them, scraping by on, when gold was not in favor at $1,100 or so. The cryptocurrency took off in Canada. That was the star for a while. Then the cannabis took over for a while, and funds were very hard to get for a junior mining company in the gold space with it. Through all that, we persevered. I put a lot of my own personal money in the form of share buying and loans to bridge the company to get through. Fortunately, when we did start 14 months ago with the adit, we did all look at each other, and we weren't fully funded, and said, you know what, now's the time, let's go. Let's not waste shareholder money, and we'll figure it out. And I'm so glad here we are 14 months later that we are. We're on 3 veins now. Underground, we drove the adit 1,400 feet into the 3 veins. We've got 3 stopes that we're developing at this point in time. We've got about 3,000 tons of ore on the ground. We leased a mill over in Radersburg, Montana, about 35 miles away, and have put about $250,000 in it, getting it up and where we wanted it. Both locations, the mine and the mill, are fully permitted. The mine has a brand new tailings pond with monitoring wells It's a closed loop circuit, so we won't be discharging any water that goes with it. We're trying to use, once again, hopefully best practices that I can bring with me from the major mining companies and folks such as Newmont that goes with it. We've got the jaw crusher and the cone crusher are on order. They're supposed to be delivered this week as we speak, and we should be producing concentrate by the end of the month. So it's been a long journey. It's really pulled all of us together as a team to figure out how to make it. And we're very excited to go from a junior explorer into being a producing mine here in the next few weeks.
Sounds like a very exciting project, especially for yourself. So, you had a great job with Newmont, as you said, the world's largest mining company, earning over 300,000. You left in order to run Winston Gold, which is a near-term producer, like you said, invested tons of your own money, I believe 7 figures. So where is the confidence coming from?
Well, I think it's, again, as I looked at it, it's a high grade, it is small vein, which really is concerning to some people from a risk perspective, but we're running 0.3 to 0.4 tenths of an ounce and 2 ounces of silver on the veins with that. I think the real key to it too is we've got a very good geologist that came from Barrick's Cortez mine. Our mining engineer came out of Pogo, out of Alaska, and our metallurgist that's running the mill came out of Sibane Stillwater, just down the road in West Yellowstone, that platinum palladium producer. So an excellent team. That was my biggest concern and risk, as I thought going into this, was how are we going to get the talent in a small company that at times was payday to payday to get through it. But we found folks that we've rewarded them well with options. They're part of the company, so very excited to have that team to get through that. That gives me a lot of confidence. The drilling that we've done, again, just substantiates the old workings and the other drill holes that were put in that went with it. And I think the real key, Aaron, in this small vein mining is its ore quality control. So we've hired another geologist that we will have at the face that'll be sampling every time we drill the production rounds that go with it. One of the keys is, you'll never find this, I think, in another junior company, we have our own assay lab. So we can turn samples around in 24 hours. So before the next shift comes on and loads that pile of exploded material out, we can go in there and mark the ore and the waste and delineate that and really cut down on the dilution. One, expensive going to the mill and process it. 2, filling up the tailings pond. But more importantly, holding that grade up with where we need to go. So it's all in the matter of the details, and it comes with experience of folks that are working these small grade mines that, you learn by your mistakes, and we're very well set up to produce and keep that dilution down so we can hold that grade. From a financial perspective, we've got a good financial model that we work with constantly. We've got a break even of somewhere around $1,100 on an all-in sustaining cost. And we've got a cost basis somewhere between $850 and $950 an ounce. So given the $1,900 gold we're at right now, again, de-risking is everything in this, right? And any of us that have been in the commodity business, while we all think gold is strong for a long time, and I certainly am in that camp, but also at the same time, what goes up goes down in the commodity industry, and you've got to guard against that with keeping it at low cost and watching your margins.
Exactly. I totally agree with you. It must be interesting, watching your projects unfold. And, what's next for the company over the next 6 to 8 months?
Well, now that we're going to get some cash flow coming in here around the first quarter with it, we are just starting the underground drilling now over on the Custer vein. That was the main mine at the one time that started everything out from this historic district. And we expect to prove up more resources there as well. And the plan is within the next year to move from a 30,000 ounce producer on an annualized basis to 50,000 ounces. And this is all on the brownfield side of it, not the greenfield that goes with it. So we do see increased production within the Winston mine area that we control. And we're starting to get calls now, from other small claim holders within the area. I mean, the mill is the key to it. If you have the mill, then the claims that folks have, all of a sudden we get a lot of good calls because we've got a good reputation and we treat people right. So I will speculate and say I think there's growth beyond that with other claims that we're seeing in the area that we're getting calls on. But certainly we have growth right now just on the brownfield within the Winston area.
Definitely. So let's talk, from a valuation perspective. So how can our listeners evaluate the company from a valuation perspective? Its current market cap is shy of around 50 million Canadian. So how much do producers with similar ounces, like what are they worth?
Well, if you look at some of these, the one that gets quoted constantly that I'm hearing about is Step Gold, a company in Mongolia, and folks can look that one up. That shot into the $3, I think, a share range that goes from there. So here's how I put it to everybody, and then they can do their own math. If you were an analyst and you were looking at this, the standard formula would be you either do it off the cash flow or you do it off the EBITDA. You divide it by the number of shares, and then you put a multiple of somewhere between 8 and 10 on it. And that's without the speculation that goes with it, but that's how gold companies traditionally trade that goes with it. So if you look at our first year, again, I give an annualized 30,000 ounces, if you will. That's about half of that is the cost. That's probably, in the range of 10 to 15 cents a share. Then if you add the multiple of it, of let's say an 8, let's keep it simple, okay? You're in that 80 to 90 cent range from there, just simply by the math without the speculation that you're seeing in the gold industry. And that's what I like to tell investors. Then they can take it from there if they want to think about speculation that goes from there. But that's certainly how the math works in most of the industry. And tell folks now, so why now? We were trading at 4 cents for a long time. I think we're at about 13 cents today. I haven't hardly looked today. It's like, geez, I've missed it. It's like, well, not really. We're still trading at a 0 multiple. So you're getting in without the multiple being applied because we don't have any cash flow yet.
Yeah, no, that sounds like a really interesting time to take a look at it. So, this is a very popular question among a lot of people in the gold industry. What are your thoughts on gold, the environment right now, the factors driving it, and do you have a price target at all, or?
Well, if you start with the macro right now, as everybody knows, I mean, the world's got a lot of chaos in it, from political to COVID. Governments have had to print a lot of paper money without any backing that sits in behind it around the world that goes from there. And sooner or later, that debt is going to have to be paid. You've got 0 interest rates that are on right now. I'll speak for the U.S. We have forbearance right now. So foreclosures have not been allowed, if you will. And again, I'm not wishing anything bad on people, but that's just the facts of it. I think after our election, after the first of the year, sooner or later, foreclosures are going to have to come in with this thing. And while it's terrible for the people who are caught in this, the small businesses are coming with, it looks inevitable, unfortunately. If you look at the layoffs now that the stimulus is off September 30th, these are high-paying jobs, right? American, United Airlines, 30,000 jobs. Disney, 28,000 jobs. I think Shell was 9,000 jobs. And the list goes on and on that goes with it. So if you look in the out future, I think on the macro side, I just don't see any bright light out there until well past we get a vaccine and get our world uprighted once again. So that's a few years out. So I think that all bodes well for gold. I mean, it is, when the world goes bad, gold goes good. I mean, that's just the antithesis of the whole premise, right? So yeah, you read the Goldman Sachs, the Bank of Americas, they're out there $3,300 and in $3,000 and above, numbers like that. Of course, there's the speculators above 10 that go with it. I always tell people, I said, look, wouldn't that be great? I said, but without me hanging my hat on it, let me tell you, there isn't a gold miner in the world that at $1,900 an ounce isn't smiling all the way to the bank, right? That goes with it. So while we all like to speculate on the upside, that seems to be the way things are now. Let me tell you, the future looks very bright at $1,900 to $2,000 gold. So yeah, I do think it'll go up. I think it's inevitable. I think, every time it goes up a little bit, the traders get involved and pull it back a little bit. But if you watch it, it continues to move up, slides back, and then goes up a little more. and I suspect we'll continue to see that in the future.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you. I'm the same. I feel like the problems aren't just gonna go away overnight, and that we can't just fix them. So very bullish on gold. Well, thank you so much for telling the story of your company. I really look forward to covering it. And where can investors find more information about the company?
So you can go to winstongoldmining.com and look at our website there. All of our details are published there. Welcome to talk to any potential investor, or we talk to our shareholders all the time with it. Like I say, we're a small company and very transparent with what we do. Or it's WGC.cn on the Canadian Stock Exchange. That's where you can find us. And again, be happy to answer any more in-depth questions any investor may potentially have.
Well, thank you so much, Joe. It's been a pleasure, and I look forward to providing more updates on your company as things progress.
Thank you, Aaron. I appreciate the giving me the time for your audience.
All right, guys, that wraps up the video for now. Drop those comments below. Let me know what you think about the company. And always remember, Departures Capital is for information, education, and entertainment purposes only. Don't buy or sell a stock because you heard it on here. Buy or sell a stock because you've done your research, you've done your thorough due diligence, and you're making your own personal investment decisions for yourself. This video is not financial advice. We'll see you guys in our next video.